or no? And the same thing we can implement with the help of CSS as well. That means every component that you can take, majorly we are having three things. One is the business logic, second one is the design, and third one is going to be the style. Business logic will contain pure TypeScript code, nothing apart from that one. Now, what is meant by a TypeScript? A TypeScript is a programming language which follows that object-oriented programming, right? When I say about an object-oriented programming, we always deals with the object. Without having the class, is it possible to create an object? No. That means when I say about the business logic, it's all about what? Creating the classes and creating an objects of that particular one. That is how it is going to be. And the second one is going to be the design. That means I have implemented some logic. I have taken some input from the user. Everything is ready. That I need to display it to the user, right? Or else let's say I'm getting some data from the database, or else I'm making an API call and I'm getting some data from there, and that data has to be displayed it to the user. How I can do that one? How I can do that? Based on the design only. And to do that design, either you can write the logic in TS file or you can write file also. And third part is going to be, you have displayed it in a proper way. But client is expecting some good user interface. By default, all the HTML that we are having, which will come and resides at the left side of your page. Do you know? Every HTML, if you can write, by default, which comes on the left side, and then it will be keep on adding based on the block level element and the inline element. We have two different type of elements are available in Angular. One is block level, second one is inline element. The difference between these two is block level element will occupy the whole block of the browser, and inline elements will occupy only a particular length. That means the length or content, whatever you people have given, if the content is having, let's say, 4 characters, then it will occupy only those 4 characters. Understand? So based upon that, it will be displayed it on where? Left side only. But client expectation is not like that. Srikanth, I want to display a basic card, or I want to display some carousel effects I wanted to apply, or else I wanted to create a drop down that needs to be displayed in the middle of the page. Then what you need to do? We have to write the CSS, right? And to write the CSS, we have two options here. The first option is going to be either you can write it in the TS file or you can write it in the CSS file. And according to this one, we are going to build the components in two ways. The first option is going to be, we have what? Inline component. Okay. According to that, we can build components in two ways. The first one is going to be, I can say that inline components, and the second one is going to be code behind components. Code behind components. Ignore the typo mistakes. Code behind components that we are having. Inline component, and second one is going to be what? Code behind the component. Now, what is inline component? If we have, tell me, if we have all the business logic, comma, design and styles in one place, then it is what? Inline component. Very good. Then it is going to be an inline component. And this next point is going to be, if it is an inline component, in component decorator, we use the following properties. What are the properties we are using? The first property is going to be selector. And the second property is going to be what? Very good, nice. Second property is the template, and the third property is going to be what? Styles. Okay, not the style, it is styles. The plural naming convention is important. Now, what is the purpose of the selector? It is used to render the components HTML in the selected place. That means every component, as I told you, which comes with the HTML, right? Now the whole HTML I wanted to render in a particular place. Rendering is nothing but delivering. I wanted to deliver to a particular place. Then at that time we use what? Selector. Now this selector, we are using it as a HTML tags. The way how we are using the H1 tag, the way how we are using, like, you know, the paragraph, the way how we are using the table tag, in the same way we use the selectors also. We use the selector to render the components HTML or components design. If you wanted to render a particular place, then we can go with the selector concept. That is the main reason where the selector is going to be used it over here. And the next one is going to be, we have the template. Now template, it contains the HTML code to render when the component is loaded. That means template will contain what? The HTML code, nothing apart from that one. There you can write the HTML code, whatever you wanted to write. The complete code is available on the template over here. And the last one is going to be, we have the styles. It is used to provide the styles for the HTML. That what I can say. Styles are used to provide the HTML for the style. Now, if you can have all business logic, design and styles all at one place, then that is what we call it as a inline component. Now, where you can specify it as an inline component? In the decorator only. In the decorator, if you can have the selector, if you can have the template, and if you can have the style, all three if you can find, then that is what we call it as inline. That is where yesterday, if you can observe that, I created a student component, right? Yes or no? Now I am using an import statement, that is import component from @angular/core. After that, I used a select, component decorator. Inside the decorator, you see, I used a selector or not? Yes or no? What is the name of the selector here? You see, what is the name of the selector here? Student as the name of the selector. After that, you see, I used what? A template, an inline template for an Angular component. If provided, do not supply a template file using the template URL. We'll come to know that point very soon. Next is that only. Now you see in the template what we are having. I use the backticks here. You see this. I use the backtick syntax here. This one, right? Backtick, and I have written some H1, and after that I used some break tag. After that I used some data list definition term or definition data that I have displayed it over there. And at last, if you can see, I used what? Styles. And there I specify some styles for my H1. And like that, any number of styles you can write, that's up to you. And this is how an inline component is going to be. Now, what is the second component we are having? What is the second component? Code behind component. Now, what is meant by code behind? What is meant by code behind? Tell me. Very good. That means what is meant by code behind component? If, okay, in the component development, we have, or else if we create separate files, separate files for what? Business logic, comma, design and style. Then that is what we call it as then it is called what? Code behind the component. Code behind the component, that what I can say. Then it is what we call it as code behind the component. Now how to create, if that is a case, like how do we create it? In that case, you see all the business logic is going to be written in a TypeScript file, and all the design is going to be will be written in a file that is what? HTML, and all the styles are going to be specified in a CSS file. That means total how many files are required here? 3 files are required or not? At the same time, we should provide a communication between the component and the remaining 2 files as well. Because when I say about a component, I clearly told you that a component is a TypeScript class. That's it. But if without having the design, without having the style, we can't see the data. That means we should provide a relation between our component to this HTML and CSS files, right? So to provide that particular relation, the decorator, what decorator? @component decorator will provide few property. That means if it is going to be okay, if it is going to be a code behind a component, okay, @component, okay, decorator, we use the following property. What properties we are using? You know, the first one is going to be selector. That means selector is common anywhere. Whenever if you wanted to render the HTML of the component, then we go with the selector only, nothing apart from that one. And the second thing is going to be we have template URL. Okay, here we can specify the path of the HTML file. That means where you have your HTML file, you can write that particular path over there. And the next one is going to be we have style URLs are available, and here we can specify the path of the style sheets. Okay, I hope you know the external style sheets, right? We have 3 ways to design the pages. One is going to be inline. Inlines are outdated, don't go with that. Okay, inline will give you an extra burden to your HTML while rendering into the browser. So that is where don't follow that inline style. That is not a good programming practice. Second one is going to be we have what? Internal. Internal is nothing but what? What is an internal? Internal is going to be if you can write the styles within the HTML page by using the style tag, that is what the internal. External means what? We write the styles in a separate CSS file and then we'll include in the HTML file by using which tag? By using which tag? Tell me frankly, how many you know? Okay, we use what? Link tag. By using href, we can get that particular external styles and then render into the HTML. And among these 3, which one is good programming practice always? External is always good programming practice because external CSS can be reused it in anywhere. Not only for that application, any other application if you are building, there also the same styles can be reused. That is where external development or external CSS is always a good programming practice to build the web pages. Clear? Now, what we are going to do, I am going to do a simple code behind the component. That means we are not learning anything new here. Just what is going to be changed here is we created a 3 different files as per our requirement. Just it is very simple. I will show you. Let me close all remaining. Okay. Now I'll go to my application here. Okay. Now you see this is how our application. In that I'll go to my projects folder. In that we have a folder with the name what? Components demo. And in that we have an SRC folder. In that we have an app folder. Shrikant, why do you create everything inside that app folder? It is not required, but just it's a standard that we are following. Slowly, I'll take you to the next level by creating a separate folder for the components. We will create a separate folder. That is the good practice. And before that, what we can do is we will be creating a separate modules also. That is the next level. So that is why right now I'm creating everything inside that app only. If you wanted to create in any other place, you can just give the reference. That's it. No need to do anything. Now I'm going to create how many files now? How many files are required here? 3 files are required. First one is going to be, you see, maybe I'll create a product component now. I'm going to give product dot component dot. Okay, component dot. The first file is going to be TS. And second one is going to be, you see, I'm going to have product dot component dot. Which file we wanted to create? HTML. And the third file is going to be, I'll be having product dot component dot component dot CSS. That what I can say. That's it. So total how many files I have created? 3 files that I'm having. Now I wanted to create a component. How to create a component? First, which statement is required? First, okay. So you already seen like how to create it as a component, right? Now I'm asking start from beginning. So first we need to use what? An import statement. What we are going to import? Very good, nice. We will be importing the component and where it is available. At the rate Angular / core is the library. There we have the component that is defined. And then the second step is what? Create the decorator. Create the decorator. So what decorator we are going to create now? Component decorator. Now component decorator will contain the metadata. That means it comes with some key and value pair combination. We have the key and then following with the value pair combination. So what is the first key which is important? What is the first key, everyone? Selector is the first key. So that we'll be using a selector and you can give the name as going to be any name you can give. By default, what happened, whenever if you created a component, whenever the CLI creates a component, it creates the component selector with the name app-product. Shrikant, why it is created like that, we have an angular.json file is available, right? There we have a prefix is available. If you can observe the prefix, what is the prefix we are having? App- is the prefix. That is the default one. And majorly, every company, they are having their own prefix at the time of building the component. Suppose you can take my company. My company is having, let's say, some prefix name. EN is the prefix that what we are following. And suppose you worked in a different company. All these are at configuration level. One time if they can apply, it will be applied for everything. But we don't have any restriction to go with that particular name. You can give any name over there. Understood? By default, you can give any name. The first one is going to be the selector. And the second one is what? Second one is going to be what? Template if I'm using, that is inline. But I wanted to do what? Very good. The second one is going to be, we will be using template URL. Now the template URL, I just wanted to give. You see, everything is there in the same folder, right? Yes or no? So that I can give dot slash, what is the name here? Product dot component dot HTML, that what I can give. This is the second step. Okay, what I have given? Template URL. And what is the third one we have? Style URLs. Okay, now you see, earlier it was styles, but now we have what? Style URLs. Now you can see this style URLs. It's a plural naming convention. That means we have what? Multiple. Even you can see there you can find a string array here, right? Have you observed that? At last you can see in the IntelliSense event, we have what? A string array, so that I can give the style URLs here. So the first one is going to be, it's a string formatted URL, so that I can give product dot component dot very good, nice. That's it. So if you can have these three, that means selector, template URL, and a style URL, then that is what we call it as, code behind component. Srikant, which one will be faster performance wise? Which one will be faster? Inline. Inline is faster. Performance wise, inline is good. But maintenance wise, code behind is always good. And that is only the reason we have a new concept which was introduced in that Angular. That is what we call it as bundling. Bundling. Okay, I hope it is there in .NET. .NET it was there, I know. But Java, I am not sure. What is meant by bundling, you know? Generally, if you open, let's say, Google website, how many requests I'm sending it to the server right now? Only one, right? That is the user point of view. As a user, we know that that is going to be one request. But when I right click, go to that inspect, this is what we call it as developer tools. Now, if you can go to the network and I'm sending the same request one more time, when I click on OK, now you see how many requests we are sending it to the server. You see here total how many? 39 requests I'm sending. Now, Srikant, what is all about these 39 requests? All these 39 requests are nothing but in order to develop a web page. On the web page, we are using different resources, right? I used a separate CSS file. I used a HTML file. I used a different business logic file. I used some images also. Suppose, let's say in Google, I have an image, this one. This is my image, right? Now you can see somewhere we have a image. For that image also one request. You can open that. This is that image. See this. One request it is making or not? Yes or no? So that is the reason where you see you can find those many requests. We have around 50 plus requests that we are having. This is the developer point of view. That means for every request that we are making, internally what happen, you know, on that page, whatever the resources we are having, either it is an image or it might be a font or it might be a CSS or it might be a bootstrap related file, jQuery. For everything, it is making a single request. That is the reason sometimes we are facing like an issue whenever we are working on the code behind. But if you are doing everything in a single file, then maintenance is challenging task. Suppose, let's say there should be some design problem. As a developer, I can't fix it, right? There should be some issue on the, let's say, coding part. As a developer, I can fix it. But the same time, if I'm getting two issues, then only one developer can work on it, right? Multiple developers cannot work because everything you have written in a single file. Then how we can overcome? We'll go with code behind only. But what they are doing, you know, whenever we execute that application, all the CSS related code, they created in a separate file. All CSS, suppose in your project you have 100 CSS file, everything is going to be copied and then pasted in a single file. And all the JavaScript related, they created a separate bundle. Understand? That means all the JS code, whatever it is generated by all the TypeScript, they created in a separate file, and they are making only two requests. That concept, what we call it as bundling. Srikanth, but you are not explained. No need to explain. It's an automate process. Anywhere you go, it's an automate process. That is where if you can execute your application generating browser bundles, the first message that what we are getting is that only. I will show you that event to you. But right now we have any error. I will show you that event. That is the reason code behind is always the best practice. We need not to think about the performance also, because performance related bundling will handle it. You need not to worry. But inlines are always give good performance. But the problem is maintenance is a challenging task. Maintenance is going to be the challenging task. In real time, we always use code behind only, not that inline. Very, very rare cases we go for what? Inline component. Static content if you have. Why should I create a code behind for that? That means about us page you can take. Obviously, that is common in every website, right? That means once if they created a website at that time, whatever the content they provided it over there, that won't be changed very frequently. About us page, I hope you know, right? Contact us page you can take. That is also not going to be changed. Then at that time you can go with an inline. Otherwise, always it's a good practice to go with what? Code behind only. Okay. Now the next one is going to be, I have a class and that class also must be exported. Export class, and the name of the class is going to be product component. That what I can say. That's it. Now my component is ready. Now this component is having some data, and that data I wanted to deliver it to my HTML. So first let me prepare the data. I'll be having product ID, which is of type number, is equal to, let's say 101. After that, product name is going to be, which is of type string, is equal to, where I can give iPhone something, any name you can give. And I can get some image also from the Google. Wait a minute. iPhone 14 images. I'll copy that image. Okay. And where I wanted to keep these images, tell me. Where I just have to keep these images. In which folder? Which folder? Very good. Assets folder. We should be having that one in the assets folder. Now I am having it in my assets folder. Just to refresh it once, you can see we have that assets folder. There we are having iPhone.jpg. Always it's a good practice to have. Srikanth, why you are giving that? Directly you can copy the URL, then also we'll get. Some website will not allow you to take that images. That is the reason always it's a good practice to get that images and maintain within your application. And where you have to write in the assets folder, that is the one thing. Okay, that is the iPhone.jpg. Along with the bundling, there is a concept of minification is there. Anupam. Okay. That will take care whatever you're asking. Okay. Right. Now you see, we have iPhone.jpg is available. Now here, I'm going to use what? Product. Okay. Image, that what I can say. And the type is going to be string, that what I can give. Now here, Product image is going to be what we are having here. Now we have a URL where it is available. I'll be giving in a assets folder, so that I need to come back one step above, right? SR no. Now we have that SRC folder, and in that I have a folder with the name what? Assets. There I'm having iPhone dot. We have the JPG that we are having. That's it. So there is some image that what I have taken, and after that, let's have the product. I'm going to give here something like price, which is of type, let's say number is equal to, I'm writing some around 67K, and then is available. Okay, is available, and there I can say boolean, and then I can give true over there. That's it. Now you see, I'm having like all these properties right now that are defined. Now I'm going to display those properties over here. Okay, I'm going to display those properties in my HTML. How I can do that one? Simply, I'm using example with code behind. Okay, example with code behind component. I'm using the HR. Now you see, if you can write the HTML over here, we'll get more intelligence. But in the previous case, at the time of doing the development, we write the HTML without having some proper convention. Because like it's a string, we are not getting much intelligence, but here we have like, more intelligence over there. Now what I can do, let's have a div tag. And for this one, I'm going to apply a class that is going to be border is the class that what I'm giving. See that? Okay. I'm going to create a definition list. In the definition list, I just wanted to have the definition term, and then following with, I just wanted to have definition data, and this is required for around 4 times. Now you see, emit is the name for this one, we can generate. But these kind of special things that you cannot achieve it in the inline, because it is not supported all these one, because it's a pure HTML file. There we are writing the HTML inside the string. By default, even in Java or C#, if you can write anything in the string, are you getting intelligence in your IDE? Are we getting any intelligence? Intelligence, auto suggestions. It won't give you the suggestions even. That is the problem. Now here, I'm going to write something like product ID, and where the product ID is available, see this, I have the product ID in this variable, right? Now I'm getting it and then copying it over here. Simply you can write the product ID, because we have a relation in between the component to TS and the HTML. If you can click on here, it will straight away take you there. Now I'll come back here. The second one is going to be product name, and I'm going to display the product name over here. And the third one is going to be, we have that image. Now what I want to do, let's have product image, and the images are going to be displayed with which tag? Which tag? Image tag. So that I can give an image tag, SRC is equal to, I'll be getting that particular image. I don't want to give the path directly, because I defined already the path of an image in my component. I'm just displaying it over here, and we don't have any guarantee on the size, so that I can give the height as going to be 200 and the width as going to be some around 200. That what I can give. Clear? Clear everyone? Very good, nice. And the last one is going to be, I don't want to have this one, just it's a price, so that what I can do, I'm getting the price from here and then giving it over there, and then what I can do, I'll be adding the price. That's it. So this is how it is going to. Now I wanted to apply a border for this one, and I wanted to write some ID for this one. ID is going to be, let's say, heading one that what I am using. Now I'm going to apply like, some styles for this one. That is my requirement. So where I can specify. Now you see, I'm running my application, but tell me now, is this component development is done? CSS is pending. Okay. That I can write it later, but development is done. No, I told you yesterday a couple of steps to you. The first step is going to be create a TypeScript class with the name @component decorator and then do the development. Okay. And complete the component development. Complete the component development either by using inline or code behind. Anything you can follow, that's based on the requirement. Okay. Now what is step number 2? Declare the component in where? app.module.ts file. Now we have to declare it over there. How I can declare it? How I can declare? So we will be declaring that in the app module. So I'll straight away go to that app module here. And now you can see we have what? A component. What is the name of the component? Product component has to be given. Once if you can give the product component, Visual Studio Code will takes the responsibility of adding the import statement. The proper import statement is going to be added automatically. You need not to worry about it even. Clear na? Right. Now what is the next step? We wanted to execute this component as the startup, right? We just wanted to execute this component as the startup. So for that reason, I'll go to the module and copy the product component and then paste it in the bootstrap section. That means initialization. Bootstrapping is nothing but initializing the component. I'm initializing the component over there. And the next step is going to be, what would be the next step here? Use the selector. Whatever the selector we have taken, I am going to use it in my index.html so that I can remove it and then I can save this application. That's it. Now all the steps are ready. Now we will execute. So how I can? I'll go to my application over here and then cd space projects/components hyphen demo is the folder, and then I am using ngs-o. Now you can see we get a statement even here. Generating browser application bundle, the phase is going to be emitting. Understood? Are we able to see that or not? That means it's an automate process. Now you see I'm able to get 101 product name iPhone and the product image, and the price is going to be 67K that we have. Now I'm not adding like any kind of CSS, but we have an option to do that one. You can add it on the fly also. Now, first thing I wanted to apply for this ID, text is going to be center. How I can apply? How I can write? How I can select it? By using an ID. Dot is for the class and a hash is for what? ID. If you can use the hash, that is for the ID. Now what we wanted to have, I'll be giving text align center. You see, we are able to see everything. Maybe I can say the color is going to be green, that what I can give. Understand? That means you can find like, all majority of the property that you can find it over here. Clear? See that all the properties we are able to get it in the IntelliSense. That is also one of the great advantage. Now I wanted to apply some border for this one. So how I can do that? If it is a class, we'll be using dot. That is where I told you before you're coming to that Angular, learn the HTML and CSS, at least basic level. Because like this is only that example I'm explaining with CSS. tomorrow onwards, mostly will be working with Bootstrap only. Because I am not comfortable by writing the CSS. That is my issue. But at least we should know, right? At least we should know what, I mean, how much knowledge I am having. If we can have that much knowledge, that is fine with respect to CSS. Not in Angular, I'm telling you CSS. But Angular, it's all like, once you get type and once you practice yourself, then definitely you will get good expertise skills. Right. Now I'm going to give some border over there. I'll be writing border some around 2 pixel solid, and then blue color or anything. Why I'm not like, taking care much about the CSS is I have color blindness. Most of the people you also have. What does it mean? I can't recognize like, more colors. I saw that like, even like my kid, he is able to like tell me, okay, this is red, this is green. Red is related, we have different colors, right? That related colors, I don't know. I don't know, seriously. That is only the reason where I don't want to spend more time on the designs by writing this CSS. Anyhow, we have what Bootstrap is there, which will take that responsibility. That is where I'm doing the smart work, not like, writing the CSS and all. Do you know what is color blindness? Not recognizing all the colors. I can recognize only few. And few colors. Violet is one color and blue. Both are very much related. If you can show me, then I can't say that exactly what is violet and what is blue. That is only the reason where I don't want to keep more concentration on CSS. Like that many people, I know, but people are not telling out. Okay, next, I have like, some border, and the border is 2 pixels solid and blue. And I'm going to give something like position is going to be, you can write like anything. Absolute, you can write. And after that, I'm going to write like, padding, I can say some around 2 pixel. Like that you can do margin or whatever, like anything we can do. All these things we can do it Bootstrap also, that's fine. Now you can save it and then come back to the design. Now you see example with code behind we are having, and I'll be removing this one and save it. Now you can see we have the border. Why it is not applied? Okay, anyhow, just you may check that, but if you can right click and go to that inspect, there you have the DL and the class is the border, and border is not applicable here. Shorthand property for setting border with style and color is not applied. You see that here you can find it. The border is not applied due to some reason. I'm not sure like about the CSS, but it's okay. Border is not applied. You can apply something else. Maybe let's say the text color that what I can give, text, that is the color. I'll be giving the color as going to be, maybe I can say blue and save this one and then come back here. Am I able to get that color, sir? Okay. So this is how we will be writing. That means if you can have all these, let's say CSS, HTML and the TypeScript in different file, then that is what we call it as code behind. Now I will show you a simple note over here. What is that note? To generate the component. Right now we created the files, but in practical environment, definitely we have thousands of the files has to be created. Right? We have 10 developer, each developer every day, they might work on a single component or might be multiple components also. If that is a case, we need to create 3 files, right? And if your project is having unit testing also, then we need to add another file. That is what we call it as a specification file, spec. Okay, specification file also need to be added. That means creating files is again manual process. Definitely it will take some time. Am I right? Yes or no? That is the reason Angular CLI we have installed. Did you remember? By using that, we can generate the components. How we can do that? By using Angular CLI. By using Angular CLI, we can generate the components, like if you can write a command ng generate, okay, and what we want to do generate? Component we want to do generate, component, and then the name of the component. Name of the component can be anything. Or else there is a shortened command is also there, which is a simplified version. Now what is the command? Ng, G for generate, C for the component, and you can give the name of the component. Now you see what happened when I'm doing it. I'll go to my application. Otherwise, what you can do is, in which folder you want to create the component generally? Under which folder? App folder only, right? Right click on the app folder, open that in the integrated terminal. Okay, what I am doing? Right click, open in the integrated terminal. Right now my terminal is pointing to what? PowerShell. You see here, it is connecting to what? PowerShell over there. So I don't want to keep this PowerShell. Instead of doing that, I'm using a CMD. Now you see here we are having the CMD. Okay, na? Now write down ng. Okay, G for generator, C for component. I wanted to generate a component. Maybe the component name is going to be trainer. Just give the name of the component. Don't write a trainer component or else student component. Don't specify the qualified name. Just give the name that you people wants to have. And then, okay, now you see what happened here. If you can observe that, what happened, you just see. It creates a component. Now you can see what component is created. Trainer.component.ts, and I don't know like why it is not showing all, but it is doing many things. Now you see trainer.component.ts, trainer.component.css, and app.module. Oh, it is not generated one file. That is HTML. Strange. Now you see, it generates. Somewhere it is missed in here, but you see how many files it was created. Under that app folder, a folder is created with the name trainer. Am I getting the CSS or not? Am I getting the HTML or not? And also spec.ts is for the unit testing purpose. I don't need this one right now. I will show you in another command how we are not including this one also at the time of generating. And you see trainer.component.ts. Now you see it gives you a basic skeleton also. You need not to write that import statement. You need not to give the correction. I mean, the relation between the TypeScript and the HTML CSS file. Everything is auto-generated. See this. Selector is what? App-trainer. Template URL is this one. And the style URL is going to be like that it is. Which one is simple? Writing command only, always, right? Because we need not to do like any kind of manual intervention. It is not required for a developer to create it in a proper place and all. It directly creates separate folders with proper structure. And you see the file names also completely in lowercase. If you can observe that. File names, every standard it follow. Every standard it follow. That is the importance of CLI. That is command line interface. Command line interface. Like that we have lot of commands. Okay, slowly like we'll adapt to that. Don't worry. So this is how. And not only this, okay, now component is ready. I wanted to execute this component. What is the first step? What is the first step? Right, we need to include this component in the module, right? Yes or no? Under the declaration section. Now you see, if I'll be going to my app module, by default, you see, is it added or not? That step is also no need to do by your own. Next step onwards, you can do by your own. The next step, step number 3, bootstrap. That you can give it here. And step number 4, initialize with the help of selector in the index.html. That means almost 2 steps are done. If you can write a command, that is ng, g for generate, c for component, and the name of the component. Suppose I don't want to have the specification file. I don't need to have what? The specification file. Then what you can do is we have another command that is going to be ngg c for the component, and you can give any name and then hyphen skip hyphen test you can do. If not required to add unit test files. If you don't want to add the unit test file, then you can use a command that is what? ng, g for generate, c for component, name of the component, and then you can use hyphen skip and hyphen test has to be given. Okay, this is all about the components. Any questions are welcome. Any questions for anyone? Maybe one question, bootstrap. I'll show you the integration part tomorrow. Bootstrap integration. And still we are working on one-way data binding only, but we have many bindings needs to learn. That part we will be discussed. How to use to selector in single HTML. Same. Generally in a page like, do we have any restriction to use a div tag for one time? Same way selector also. Selector is what? It is generally what? A simple like a tag, HTML tag. Now let's say in trainer component, I wanted to use like whatever the components we have created, student we have created, right? I can use the student, and I wanted to use an employee. I can use it. I wanted to use the product, then I can use it. That's up to you. If you can execute like, the trainer component now, then all these 3 will get executed. Understand? That is how it is. Can we use the bootstrap for multiple? Yes, we can use it. Compilation not done in JavaScript. No, there is no compiler here. We have an interpreter. If it is a JavaScript, but here we have the compiler. Okay. Right. Any questions, guys? Please do let me know. If you don't have any questions, leave for the day. We'll continue tomorrow. As you know, like Monday and Tuesday, we have for 1 hour, 5 to 10 minutes. That's it. But after that onwards, we have the complete sessions planned. I'll just upload you like all these things. Okay. So please do practice. I'm uploading like this one as well. What component today? Product, right? That's it. I don't have that much patience, erosion. If you need, you can copy and create a separate folders and you can maintain. Thank you. And also the people like who are joined online, guys, please join with the proper name. Otherwise, like you will get removed. That's it for the day. Thank you and have a nice day.